typical components of an operating system. In this section, we briefly discuss the components typically associated with an operating system and the full environment surrounding the operating system. Keep visiting figure 5.1 while reading the description. This figure provides a simplified layered view of operation of the computer system in context of operating system study. The device drivers. At the lowest level is the raw hardware of the computer. As we have seen earlier, this part, often called the raw iron, is an immensely powerful machine but has no clue as to what to do. This layer also consists of a diverse set of devices, each requiring potentially different set of instructions to operate. The device drivers are small programs that contain the instructions necessary for using these devices. While many of them come bundled with the operating system, some may have to be installed separately from a disk or the internet. They are loaded and unloaded as and when needed by the kernel. The kernel uses them for operating and controlling the hardware. The kernel. The kernel is a core component or the main program of operating system. A traditional kernel performs all the key functions of an operating system, including detecting new hardware when attached and loading appropriate device drivers to assist it. Assessing and controlling on all hardware devices through the device driver, resource allocation and management, creating, stopping and controlling program execution, scheduling program execution, providing CPU, I/O and memory protection, I/O management, memory management, security, etc. By some definitions, the kernel IS is the operating system. User will see the program. Here it's shell. Shell is your GUI, graphical user interface. Kernel joins the shell and device drivers. Kernel instructs device driver to install itself, and then device driver are used to run the hardware. This is your figure 5.1, the operating system context. The shell. Shell is the most visible component of an operating system bundle, so much so that the most people identify the operating system by the looks of the shell. Shell allows the user to express their wishes, what they want the computer to do, to the computer system by providing a user interface, UI. There are two main categories of user interfaces, a command line interface, CLI, and a graphical user interface, GUI. CLI expects only a low-cost, lower-power text-based terminal. It works by repeatedly accepting textual commands from the user and executing them. One needs to remember the commands through help may be available, and a certain level of typing skills are needed to operate such a system. In the early days of computing, when technology was not as advanced, the CLI was the only option. Later on, graphical user interface was developed. In the GUI environment, the screen contains pictorial elements like a desktop that acts as a background for everything else, windows, a rectangular portion of the screen dedicated to a particular program or interaction, icons, small pictures representative of programs, and other elements. Menus, a list of actions from which the user may select one. Buttons, small rectangular area that react to a mouse click, etc. The later elements belong to a particular window. The windows may hide behind other windows and reappear and can often be moved around or resized. Minimized to a small part at the bottom of the screen, maximized to occupy the whole screen, etc. Apart from the keyboard for input, there is a mouse pointer that can be moved around using a mouse or trackpad. There are one of three buttons that can be clicked and a scroll wheel or scroll area too. In our next video, we will see file system. Till then, take care.